wine is a wine called Borgato from Portugal. Borgato Fonte. 5 bones, fucking crushes most $25 wines. What's your name, sir?
My name's Hans.
Nice to meet you.
A lot of people are talking about brand new social applications being the next big thing in advertising.
I think people have to understand what advertisers want. They want eyeballs. So I think anything that has eyeballs is monetizable. In my opinion, if you have 2,500 unique people a day coming to whatever you're doing, you should be making bank. You should be able to live off of that. I really fundamentally believe that.
You
yes,
really do?
I know it sounds very low.
I have that.
2,500 uniques a day, to me, is very monetizable. The problem is, a lot of people don't position themselves to monetize. And that's what I get passionate about. Wow. That's what I talk to people about. If you don't position yourself, if you don't redesign your website, and most of all, if you don't go after people. I mean, for me, I did a case study for myself when I had about 4,000 uniques for my show and met with a very famous wine glass company and showed them all the numbers and talked to them about what they did in the Wine Spectator for $70,000 a month and all this other bullshit. And at the end of the meeting, and I didn't want to take it because, I didn't take it because I've got other monetizing things going on, and there's a lot of different discussions with television going on at the time. But at that point, he offered me $2,700 an episode. That's, I do 5 episodes a day, and that's real money. Now, that's because it's niche. Now, again, you might talk about technology. A lot of you do. That's not as niche, and that gets harder. That 2,500 might be tougher. So it is individual. But how many people here consider themselves, when they blog, they talk about social media, technology, that kind of post? Raise your hands.
I do. A lot.
Real high. I want to see everybody who it is.
Right.
Every person that has their hand in the air, if you're not leaving a seismic video reply to every TechCrunch post every single day, you are a clown. It is a massive and Center Networks. Thank you. Sorry, my friend. But honestly, that Mashable. Sorry, but listen. I'm telling you what I saw, because that's where it was launched first. What I saw. These are places where you can build equity. The problem is people stay within their own cocoon. You need to go out and work the community. When Wine Library TV had no viewers, the way I got them was by leaving content on other wine blogs, even ones that were ranked 11 million on Alexa. You know what I mean? You go to them all because you don't know where your opportunity is going to be. People look at numbers too much. Everybody gets caught up way too much in how many people are in their RSS or how many uniques they had in a day. You've got to build. You've got to build.
If you had here of all the top management at these brands, national brands,
Like Pepsi.
like Bon and Val at Pepsi, I was one of the 25 that got that thing.
Yep.
Okay, so what would you say to them? What do you think is the most important thing they need to hear?
The question is, if I had the ear, and when I do talk to some of them, these big brands, what would I tell them about the space? Is that right? The social media space.
Oh, okay.
So, here's their problem. Here's the problem for Green Mountain Coffee and for Pepsi and for Budweiser and the vodka brand I talked to yesterday. They don't think there's enough people. And they're right. The most followed person on Twitter is Obama, and he has what, 100,000 people following him?
Obama.
Okay? There you go. So, right? They don't think there's enough people. What I convince them is 2 things. One, they suck. They want to spend money, right? This space doesn't cost them money. It costs them time, which does have a money value, but not like the bullshit money they spend by who are those assholes that put that thing on that phone booth right there?
Yeah.
You know how much that costs? A lot more than if you really cared about your community. So what I tell them is this. You need to immerse yourself in this space, because a lot of the people in 2009 that do move the market are paying attention to this market, and it's a trickle down, and the cost is so minimal that there's no value in not doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I tell them.
Gary,
Yeah.
what do you say to the people that say that Twitter actually
I've never heard that.
A way to not communicating or marketing any longer.
That's
I've never
weird.
heard that.
Right,
I've
so-
never heard that before.
So, I don't give a shit about the English language.
Okay, so
So that's first and foremost. I think there's no validity to that. I mean, not marketing in an effective way with the English language is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because most people know that it's visual, it's emotional. You know, it doesn't need to be spelled right to be right. You're welcome.
Gary.
Yo,
If your marketing come across in 140 characters, then you're doing something really amazing. That's basically the bottom line of Twitter.
guys, the problem is everybody thinks about marketing from like, what can I do to catch a splash? It's a game of nutrition. It's a long process. You really have to give a fuck about your users. The people that win really care. They have a true community. And when that original fan base, like for example, my Vaniacs originally, they're the ones who build your brand equity. Whatever you do, you have to make sure your user is the happiest son of a bitch on earth, because then you crush. Then they do it for you. You will never have the time. Everybody's always amazed by how much I do, but I'm only one person. It's not scalable. I try to make unscalable things. I made a Facebook app the day apps came out called Ask Gary. You ask me a wine question, I fucking answer it. That worked for about 2 days until I got 900 questions an hour. I mean, it's not scalable, but if you build passionate users and you really give a shit about them, then that's the marketing. The marketing is, see, what you have to understand is nothing's changed except word of mouth. Word of mouth is what's changed. The biggest fucking yenta on the Upper East Side 10 years ago could have told 60 people about your product. Now some clown in Ohio with a Twitter account can tell 4,000 people in one shot. Word of mouth has changed. And if your shit is on point and people are passionate about your product, that's what's going to explode. They can keep it going forever. It's fat tail. Yes.
What about a business model that's not relying on content, but is a platform in and of itself?
A business model not relying on content, but is a business model.
It's a platform in and of itself.
Give me the example.
I'm in the process of building a platform that's called Democratus.
Democratus.
It's basically a customer service platform for government that allows people to have a get satisfaction style relationship.
So get satisfaction for government.
With idea incubation that actually creates legislation.
Okay? It's the same game. When you launch that product, it's an app. It's a web app. So the early users, you need to listen to them. So when they're like, oh, I don't like the submit button because it's pink, you listen to that shit. You know, or whatever it is. And then the other game is to outreach. I live on Huffington Post and shit like that. Just building up your street cred, not spamming and linking your shit. Just getting your name out there. When I left all those comments on those wine blogs, all it said was Gary Vaynerchuk. That's it. My name linked back to my video blog, but I never left a link in a comment. Now, a lot of people who are in the SEO game think it's important. I don't. I think it hurts you. I think it shows what your intentions are. Instead of adding to the community, you're trying to suck out. What I would do is you or somebody else be a face of this product, live and breathe every politic blog on the internet, and build up that name equity. And they see your quality responses and thoughts, and then they click your name, they find your site, and then when you get them into your house, you treat them like guests.
well, I think what you're saying
One
to
second.
me. Right.
You gotta raise your hand, sir.
Oh, sorry. I know. Hold on. That's okay. You ladies
Anna
first.
Savino, Lucid Anna, Gary, your tipping point.